Shall I start?
Yeah, so it's live stream now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sandhya. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this discussion by Citizen Matters Bengaluru. We are back with our event of the month. My name is Sandhya, a community anchor with Citizen Matters. Our topic for today is living with metro construction, addressing safety, traffic, and air quality issues. Before we begin, I would like to take 2 minutes to tell you about our work, since some of you are new. Citizen Matters is a civic media platform that serves as a knowledge exchange with insightful reports on critical urban issues, ideas, and solutions for cities, diving deep into issues which affect our quality of life, including water, commute, public safety, air quality, governance, education, environment, local economy, and more. We bring together civic media, data, and diverse voices to help citizens build sustainable, equitable, and livable cities. We provide in-depth information and insights on various critical urban issues to facilitate understanding and the tools for citizens to become change makers. Before I hand it over to Shravasti, our moderator, Shravasti is the editor of Citizen Matters Bengaluru. Please post your questions, comments, or on our YouTube live. Before you go ahead, I just want to make some ground rules clear. I request you to share the questions in the chat box on the YouTube live stream. We will try our best to address each of them. We request everyone to not engage in any kind of trolling or abuse during the event. Thank you. Shravasti, on to you.
Thank you so much, Sandhya. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed panelists for this evening. Mr. Prasad Babu, Chief Structure Expert, DB Engineering and Consulting. Dayanand Singh, Chief Safety Expert, Bhopal Metro Project, Mr. Prasad Babu and Mr. Dayanand Singh's respective teams. Dr. Meghna Verma, Associate Professor, Ramaya Institute of Management, and Anjali Saini, member of Whitefield Rising. So to put the topic into perspective, certain things need to be highlighted. First of all, as we all know that in January this year, a very tragic incident occurred where a mother and her son lost their lives when a metro pillar collapsed on them. Subsequent reports showed that this was due to inadequate support structure for a tall reinforcement cage, an accident that could have been avoided if safety was taken into account. Around 100 kilometers of metro lines are major roads or arterial roads like Outer Ring Road, Hosur Road, Banarghata Road. These are high density corridors where lakhs of people commute, either by bus or driving cars, two-wheelers, or simply just walking. While metro may have signage asking us, to bear with for a better future, it's not just about inconvenience. It is also about the safety and well-being of everyone on that road and those who live nearby as well. It is not a must that people should put up with these kind of inconveniences and dangers to their lives through the 5 years so that it takes to build a metro. So in this session today, we will look at the dangers and challenges of living through metro construction, why these issues arise, and what BMRCL must do to make it easier to live through it. Before we begin the panel discussion, I would request videos of ground reportage by a team of reporters from Citizen Matters Bengaluru be played, in which they, through images, videos, and voiceovers, depict the ground reality. So please live stream that. Thank you.
And the audio is not there.
Can you hear it now? Please let me know.
Yeah.
Was they already completed JP Nagar?
Yes. Sandhya, the video is paused, I guess.
Yes, video is paused.
Sandhya, can you hear us?
Workers
Yeah.
on site and no.
Sorry, are you able to hear?
Yeah, but the screen is frozen, I guess. Can you replay it?
Okay.
I think the video is
JP
paused.
Nagar fourth phase line in front of Vega City Mall. This line will connect Nagavara and Gotigere. This line will come under the phase 3 of the Namma Metro project. There were no construction workers on site and no work was going on when I was there. Looking at the construction, one can see that it causes a hurdle for vehicles, especially posing a risk to pedestrians. Due to the construction barricades, the roads become narrow, which can cause traffic jams and pose extreme risk to pedestrians as there are no proper footpaths near the construction. There are no safety on top of the construction to ensure nothing falls down on the road. There were very few shops near the side of the construction, but with other establishments, there's a lot of footfall near the site. You can see in the video how it becomes risky and dangerous to cross the roads as well, given the direction of the road and traffic flow.
Were you able to see the video?
No, Sandhya, I think there's some video network issues. Anyway, we can move ahead with the discussion part.
Yeah, I think we'll start off with the panel discussion. So I would like to invite Mr. Prasad Babu and Mr. Dayanand Singh to please weigh in on this aspect, which is a very important aspect in the discussion, that is safety audits. So some of the questions that we have is, how is safety being factored into metro design? From a construction perspective, is there standardization in the fabrication process? In some cases, they make the whole structure, while in others, they extend the structure above the cast level only a little at a time. Some are erected in place, while others are made horizontally on the ground and then brought to the location with a crane. A lot of issues. Also, even the scaffolding is not uniform, and in some cases, missing altogether. So, how are these norms enforced? Also, we would like to know how are safety aspects factored into tender documents, and how are contractors bound by these safety protocols, and in case there is a violation, what are the penalties? So also, if you could just tell us a little about how safety audits are conducted in other cities, whether there's metro construction, we would like some idea about that as well. And also in the news, we also saw that there was a sinkhole on Brigade Road, which brought into question about the metro, though there are claims and counterclaims of whether it is because of the metro, whatever may be the case. Sinkholes are blamed on the very nature of the soil, which seems to have caused at least 2 sinkholes in its 1,200 meter tunneling stretch between Venkateshpura and Shadi Mahal. So, how frequently is soil testing done? And if you can just cover these aspects on safety audits, it would be quite interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Shravasti and Sandhya, for inviting us to this small presentation. I would like to take you through a small presentation which will give you an insight of the questions you just asked. So I'll just try to share the screen. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether. Yeah, but I think if I enlarge it, maybe it will come to my next. Okay. Is it okay now? Is it in full screen?
Yes, sir.
Not full screen, but yeah,
But
we
yeah,
can
we can see
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's visible.
Okay. So I would like to go through this agenda, which is this. I'll just take you through what is metro system and how the design is involved here, and what are the contract binding, and how health and safety is monitored, and what happens if there is a breach and contract. And then environment, regarding environment, how the contract is bound and how the contractors are bound. Then the traffic diversion, how, why, and how it is required and how it is done. Then some of the good practices, and then I'll explain through the one slide with the Commissioner of Metro Railway Safety, which is a mandatory to know before inauguration of any metro. This is the metro system which we are implementing in majority of the cities, which I would like to go through to you all. This can carry a passengers in 1 hour around 50,000 passengers per hour per direction. And this is powered by a third rail, which you can see this one is the third rail. And then this is the steel wheel technology, where you it runs on a rail with a steel wheel. So this photograph is from Dubai Metro. Why I've included this is because many of the metros which we are building in India are with the third rail system, which is very safe because there are OHT also overhead lines, wherein this is bound to be more safe for the people commuting. You can see this is the metro system which will carry the passengers. You can see the blue, green, and red lines are the the coach which will be carried by this viaduct. This is a typical cross section. Yeah.
Sorry to do. We are still on the first slide.
Oh my God. Okay, there is a problem then. Now?
Yeah.
Yes, now we're on the second.
We can see the.
I think, yeah. So
we're on the third slide now. Yeah. Dubai Metro. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is the Dubai Metro, wherein you can see the third rail here. I was just explaining for you. Now, this is the metro system which I was explaining, the viaduct, where so many systems are involved in the viaduct, which will carry the 2 tracks of the coaches. You can see these are all the power cables, signaling cables. So this is too technical, but I would like to give you a broader picture wherein how much work is involved here in this metro system, building a metro system. You can see the track here, and then the signaling and telecom cables, and this is the third rail which is giving power to the metro, and this power is again transferred to the coach, where it will have a built-in motors which will be run on the viaduct. The maximum speed which it can run, we are designing is around for 80 km per hour, but within the station it's around 70 km per hour maximum. However, when the stop comes, the station, you know that it's in halt, 0. Let me go through the design, how the safety is built. See, the safety starts from the design. We have codes of practice from different Indian standards. The majority of standards which is applicable for the metro are Indian Railway Standards, which is issued by Government of India, Ministry of Railways. And there is one organization called RDSO, which is Research, Designs and Standards Organization, which issues the guidelines. And then Indian Standards, Bureau of Indian Standards, issued by Bureau of Indian Standards. And there are some Indian Road Congress codes we follow for the temperature cases and all those. If anything is unavailable in these Indian standards, we would utilize the international codes, which are generally the Euro codes. For your small information, all the designs of any temporary or the permanent structure will be having a factor of safety about 1.35 to 1.5. It means it can carry 1.35 times or 1.5 times the load than it is prescribed. This is the prescription given in the all the standards. And there are firefighting systems within the stations, and all the material which we are procuring for the station have 2 hours fire retardation. Let me take you through the contract binding. See, health and safety is most important. I agree with you that we should know, and we are also not happy with these 2 lives lost at Bangalore and even in other metros also. There are some incidents happen. However, the contract, what we are preparing and what we are assigning to the contractors, this is a general practice throughout the metros in India. They have to be compliance with the occupational health and safety 18001, which is an international standard. Then the responsibility of health and safety lies from the design aspect to the contractor and each and every one who are involved in the project. The contractors are bound by legislation and code of practice. Please be sure that they are bound by legislation, that the law of land. Then contractors are fully responsible for the safety at site, for their works and their personnel also. Any subcontractor who are working with the contractor are also, or any other authorized person are also bound to obey the health and safety which is in the contract. Basically, the contract comes from once the contract is implemented, there will be engineers from the project management consultants, or some in case of BMRCL, there is no project management consultant. However, they are acting as a PMC people. So their responsibility is to ensure that this is implemented. Then monitoring, how we do health and safety monitoring. This what I'm displaying here is the current practice which we are doing at Bhopal and Indore Metro, and also other metros which is they're supposed to be doing. The job hazard assessments, they have to assess and give us the record always, every they have to give us. Then every work will have a toolbox talks. Toolbox talks are those talks which will explain the workers how what are the risks, what are the health issues or safety they need to take care before they start any work aspect on that day. It is done every morning and before start of any work. And there are safety inspections which we need to take care, and then engineer safety audits will be done, and internal safety audits also done. I would request Dayanand to speak out spell out something on this slide so that he'll be a better person to listen. Mr. Dayanand.
Yeah, thank you. The job.
Mr. Dayanand, you're on mute. Could you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Thank you. As Mr. Prasad has highlighted about the job hazard assessment, it is a kind of the risk assessment which is undertaken before inceptions or the start of any working activity. In fact, the complicated and the challenging work activities are disintegrated into various small activities, and what kind of the hazard associated with that activity, it is studied and it is risk analyzed as to what hazard and what its likelihood that it may cause harm or danger to the public, and what control measures what has been envisaged in the design or the safe work method, whether it is appropriate and enough to take care of the safety of the people, material and the machineries. So if it is sufficient, then it's okay. If there is the gap, or if some deficient the control measures are there, then extra control measures are put in the place so that the hazard could be nullified. So this is a risk assessment or job hazard assessment. And the second part is the toolbox talk. Toolbox talk, it resembles with the tool what a mechanic is having, and before the start of any activity, the mechanic has to look into his toolbox whether it is having the sufficient the amount and quantity of the tool which is required for his day's job. So similar kind of the concept has been envisaged in the safety management system also. And before going to start any work activity, the line manager or the frontline engineer or frontline supervisor, it's their job or their responsibility to gather the people for a short while and make them aware about the day's activity, what the job will be assigned to them, and what kind of the hazard or risk is associated with that job, and how they have to deal with those activity, so that the hazard or the potential risk could be kept away. So it's a small kind of the talk which on the job site happens, and a small gathering of the people of the particular activity, they participate in that. And the third is the safety inspection. So safety inspection is a proactiveness in the safety management system about any ongoing work activities. So definitely any work which is being undertaken in any project site, it is having the man, material, and the machineries. So safety inspections has to be the categorically done for the machineries, equipment, plant, tools, and tackles, what we are using, whether it is having the desired nature of the system, what it is intended for. And if any deficiency is there, that is highlighted in the safety inspection checklist. The safety inspection checklist is done with some the predefined the checklist, and one has to tick mark on that, whether the parameter highlighted in the checklist, it is fulfilling the requirement or not. If some deficiency or some lacunas are there, or some flaws is there, so that has been highlighted. And the next level of the people, it's a responsibility for them to look into that aspect, and they need to correct the things so that the work could be done in the safest manner. And as far as the engineer safety audit, the audit, internal safety audit, engineer safety audit, external audit, internal audit, it is a very the vast subject. In fact, the audit is a systematic approach to scrutinize the work activities. So in different scenario or in different activity, different kind of the safety audit is undertaken. So as far as the health and safety management system of particular project is concerned, this the audit, a base level audit. So if you are starting the job, then a base level audit is done to examine that where we are when the work is being started. So at that point of the time, what kind of the practices we are following, whether it is a foolproof, and whether it is risk assessed and the risk-free practices. So like safety inspection in the safety audit system also, some the pre-decided the checkpoints or the checklist is prepared, and it is the number, and against each and every observation, some kind of the marking is allocated. For example, if you are going around the project site, and the people, if they are wearing the safety helmet, safety boot, and other safety harnesses, if the majority of the people, they are wearing the personal that is called the personal protective equipment, if they are well attired with the PPUs, then a full marks 80 to 90% is given. So likewise, the various activities is scrutinized, and accordingly the marking is done. So the base level audit, as well as internal safety audit. Internal safety audit means there are in a particular, in any the project, there are three project partners. One is the client, to whom the work is being executed, and the second is the consultant, the general consultant, or any kind of the consultancy firm maybe, and the third is the contractor and subcontractors team. So this constitute the project partners. So if within this parameter, if any audit is undertaken by the contractor team or the GC team, it is the internal audit. So internal audit means some the person who is acquired the qualification of internal auditors, the training, or who had undertaken the proficiency qualification of the auditor's requirement, with along with the execution and operation team, they undertake the safety audit, and they categorize the work activity as a good work, the poor category, or the work needs some improvement, or unacceptable. So these are the various categories under which the entire activities are assessed, examined, and scrutinized. And accordingly, at the end of the checklist or audit, the marking has been done on the heads for which the audit has been undertaken. So if it is purely on the internal basis, it's okay. So sometimes what happens, internal audit, because of some internal stigma or internal threat or some kind of the reason. So internal people, they are having some fear factor. So they allot or award a very high marking to their own side, 70, 80, 90%. So the client insists for the external audit also. So external audit means a third party audit. Third party audit means the project partner is not involving in that. They are silent spectators, and they can go around with the external audit to facilitate them. And external audit, he comes with his team, or he may come alone, and with his third eye, he scrutinizes the thing in unbiased and in a candid way. And his findings, definitely it matters, because a third eye could recognize more hazard and more risk, which could be challenging for us and could have the potential threat for our man, material, and the machineries. So this kind of the audit is considered as a very important from the project perspective point of view, and generally a quarterly or half yearly, this kind of audit is undertaken in the majority of the metro project, and it gives a very good insight as to where we are or where a project is standing, and if any improvement or if any deficient things are there which need to be corrected immediately. So that kind of the recommendation is being made in the external audit. And engineer safety audit generally undertaken by the client or the consultant, which is having a similar nature of what the contractor is carry out the internal audit. So this is the audit part. So audit part, as in the beginning of the talk has been highlighted by one of the madam, and she has emphasized on the audit. So definitely audit plays a very vital and important role in the safety management system, and this audit should not be influenced, or one should not the force to take in a biased manner. The auditor should be given a full functional liberty to carry out the audit, and the audit observations or audit finding should be given much importance, and it has to be dealt, or the compliance to this audit should be done within a stipulated time frame, so that the site could run in a very safest and trouble-free manner. And the next is the reporting of accident, incident, and dangerous occurrence. So one thing I would like to mention here, when we are
Sir, Mr. Dayanand,
yeah.
just a request that can you just quickly wrap it up, because the other panelists would like to also share
only,
their insight.
Only I will take a two minutes time period.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. So accident, when we are undertaking any the developmental or infrastructural projects, so accidents are bound to happen. It is very much clear that accidents are bound to happen, but our endeavor should be to minimize it. So how to minimize? to keep and minimize the accident to zero level. So that should be our endeavor, and that should be our practice. And accordingly, we have to envisage and we have to develop our plan and procedure so that this the phenomena of the accident, incident, and dangerous occurrence could be kept at a zero level. And the reporting is very, very important, because the statistical figure shows if 300 near miss occurs, then definitely 30 dangerous occurrence occurs. And after occurring of the 30 dangerous occurrence, at least three major incidences occur. And if it is also not the checked, then definitely one fatal incident happen. So near miss reporting, dangerous occurrence reporting, first aid injuries reporting is very, very essential. Unfortunately, majority of the project site, in my 35 years of the career, I have seen the people, they are having some fear factor in reporting the incident. They think if they will report the incident, then their superior will scold them and they will trouble them. So for that reason, the people are those who are working on the ground level, they are not reporting to their superior at the top management. So majority of the incidences remains the hidden. So it is very, very important that even a small, minor, or any accident happen, it should not be hidden, and it should be clearly the reported, so that the root cause, what went wrong, or where we had some problem in our operation or the system implementation. So that lacunas that can be rectified or eradicated. So incident reporting is very, very important. So this is all about the health and safety monitoring and the health management system. If any question on this is there, then it is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prasad and Mr. Dayanand, for that very enlightening presentation. We will definitely come back with questions for the both of you and your team. I would actually now like to invite Anjali Saini. Anjali, this is with regard to the experience of Whitefield residents while the metro construction happened in Mahadevpura. How did you deal with issues like reduced road space, crossing roads, etc.?
Yeah, thank you, Shravasti, for asking these questions, and a very nice presentation, Mr. Prasad and Mr. Dayanand. That was very informative to know, all the details that are behind the metro construction. I think we never really appreciate how complex these projects are. But then, we're just common citizens on the road. And now, as far as the construction of the metro is concerned, I think they have a little advantage, at least in Mahadevpura or in Bangalore, because BBMP is so bad about any kind of construction that if there's any type of even small sort of structure around safety, we are actually very, very happy. So in general, people in Bangalore and in Mahadevpura have been quite satisfied with the way the barricading is done, signages are put, and alternate routes are marked. However, I will say that if I were to, when I looked at Mr. Dayanand, all the standards that they're following, I think definitely they are nowhere near the standards that should be followed. And by that, I mean, there is definitely a lacuna on the safety side. A lot of stuff is left lying around, whether it's, sometimes steel rods, it is, the way vehicles are parked, where you then have to get across these large construction vehicles. Some of the barricading problem, but a very, very large problem that I also personally pursued with BMRCL, so I can definitely vouch for it, is that, we had a lot of pollution, a lot of dust. The AQI was almost at 800 when we approached BMRCL saying, you just got to pick up the dust every single day. You know, after you do your construction for the day, you've got to have at night, you've got to have a mechanized sweeper. And I was really surprised that at the level of this thousands of crores of a project, they don't have a system of mechanized sweeping, which should be just like a given standard. If you see abroad and you see even in other cities, I've seen even in Lucknow, there was never so much of dust and so much of debris lying around the construction sites. And I think definitely, you know, in Mahadevpura, we have had to suffer very large AQI levels for, you know, at least 2+ years. And that's been a matter of concern. And I think BMRCL still, and even BBMP, they do not consider these things important enough. So that has been a big part of it. And I think, I'm not sure about the reporting of accidents. Mr. Dayanand has brought up this point, and we should really look at that and see that if there have been accidents around the area, that they are being reported. I think it's a very, very important point that he brought up, that should definitely be done by all, you know, all the entities that are doing construction in our area. Apart from that, I think, you know, the last point I want to make is that a lot of it is subcontracted, you know, so it's not like the main BMRCL contractor that may be in charge of doing the cleanup, say after you know, during the construction. That part may be subcontracted. And I think what happens when it's subcontracted, it's like people just wash their hands off it. And there is a lot of corruption in the subcontracting. There are a lot of kickbacks in the subcontracting. And as a result of that, you can see that the quality of work that's done by the subcontractor is very substandard and is very, very harmful to citizens, not only to their health, but also to their safety. So that is something that they need to look at doing much, much better.
Thank you so much, Anjali, for those insights. I will also get back with some more questions to you during the course of the panel discussion. I would now like to just invite Dr. Meghna. Dr. Meghna, as an expert on sustainable transport, you understand the needs of pedestrians and commuters, right? And you have also studied Church Street from a pedestrian and environment perspective. How do you think BMRCL can make the life of pedestrians and commuters easier during construction? What would be your observations on that?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. To add upon the presentation and what Ms. Anjali mentioned, and answering your question, I just want to start what a safety means, right? Today there is a accident because of the construction site. So we are restricting our discussion there. So I take this opportunity when Mr. Prasad and Mr. Dayanand is there. So hopefully it should be looked upon in a holistic perspective. Because how do we perceive safety? It is just one element, or how do we define it? So when we were looking upon the slide 7 of the experts here, quite impressive from engineering aspect, truly welcomed. And but from the commuter's point of view, that is what I want to bring in. And that's where my understandings are. So safety is with respect to the connectivity itself, because when we do not have seamless connectivity of metro, we have to take multiple modes and issues happen. We understand it takes time. Overnight, you cannot have a construction, but it is very long when metro construction is going on. We talked about projects, so why not it could be made the life of the citizens a little better by communicating the start time and the end time of the project. People will be patient enough ki bhai, theek hai, for this duration. We have to be cautious in that area. That is first thing first. Second thing is, if there is a construction going on in a particular place, why don't we follow international standards half a kilometer before or something like that? Why not the signages comes to caution people? Forget about half a kilometer. At that site itself, this construction site is abandoned for months and nothing has been taken care of. So how long and how much a commuter will keep a patient not to follow that particular route, because that's his everyday's route. I remember when I was in Mumbai, it is in the year 2000 to 2003, we used to read one very interesting line from the MMRDA, which says that, please bear with us for the better tomorrow. And just a couple of years back also, when I was in Mumbai, I saw that a year before also, the board remains the same. So how long a citizen will keep a patience for that tomorrow to come? When will that tomorrow come? So that is one very important aspect which we need to look upon, because here the patience is lost. The commuter goes and takes the risk of his life because every day he cannot keep a patience of wasting his time in commuting. So that is a very important thing. Start date and end date, if we can be communicated, and it also becomes an integral part of communication to the citizens, for which the life is getting better after the construction. So that is one aspect of it. Second thing is, when we talk about safety and pedestrian and all that, when we talk about seamless connectivity, I think it is so simple and audit from commuter's point of view. If one of the engineer take his or her one bag in hand and one on the backpack and roll it out from the house till whatever place they want to go, whether it is a shopping complex or a metro station to railway station or an airport or to the workplace. If the person do not have to lift the bag and can walk through, use a bus, use a metro and reach to the destination, it is seamless. Otherwise it is not. So it is a simple audit required, right, from the commuter's point of view. So when will it happen is what only the management with authorities can answer. We also talk about citizen safety and convenience. So safety is multiple ways. Connectivity. Can we avoid multiple ways of multiple modes to reach to a particular destination? Because many times when we change it, we take our lives at a more risk because we do not have seamless connectivity. Second, reliability of information. So today we are talking about construction. Tomorrow something will happen with women's safety and we'll talk about all these things. So why can't things are in place? There need to be a very good communication system which says that whether it is a timing of the metro or reachability or whatever it is, there has to have. We have IT experts who give services to the world. Why we are not able to develop that one robust system within our country? So that's a request again to look forward for information system to be extremely reliable. Accessibility to the metro. So that's again very important. When we talk about the common citizens with all things normal, we find it very difficult. My heart goes out with the people with disability because I have interviewed many people in last 1 year, did focus group discussions also. They're not able to use metro for the reason that going there itself is a problem. To some of the metros, parking is a big issue. Yes, within the metro, we understand there are lots of good safety things are there, which unlikely in many places it is not there. So kudos to the thought process there. We have ramps, we have elevators and all that. But how to access metro? That should be a part of the planning process. That also should be made convenient and safe. Very, very, very important aspect of it. And so when we talk about health and safety, it should be health and safety of not just during the process of construction with the employee safety, it should also be looked upon to the commuter safety. And if we can do that, that will be really, really good. So people who walk and reach the metro, their safety, people who takes the metro, within the metro, there is a safety required. Shifting to other thing is required. So it should be end-to-end safety, which should be looked upon. So that is the point which I wanted to make as an initial remark. Thank you.
Very important point raised, Dr. Verma, on communication. Anjali, I would just like to ask you, what was it like for Whitefield residents? Was there any communication, or do you think there was a big gap there? Was there regular communication?
You mean about the construction?
Yes,
no,
absolutely. Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, as Meghna said, there is a real lack of communication, even at the point where the construction is going on. I think routinely where we would get our information from would be from the newspapers, which would say, construction going to continue for, going to be completed in 2020 something, and that's about it. But we never got any information saying, this road's going to be closed, take this diversion from tomorrow. Like there should be some advance notice about these things, as she said. And, if you go through the contracts, I've gone through the contracts that our government gives out to these contractors. And actually the contract is very, very comprehensive. I'll give you an example just to a simple thing like an OFC contractor, right? The people who are digging our roads for the cable. If you go through, they have almost like 10, 15 points. For example, like if you do have a hazard in a particular area, you should have a flashing light. That's just very basic, and it's there in the contract as well. For example, if you're coming at night, you may not be able to see a dark barricade. You may not be able to see even, where the road has been blocked off. And, those are the kinds of things that cause accidents where, I think yesterday there was somebody went into the barricade and the first thing they said, he's a bad driver. He went into the barricade. But the question is, did you have all these other hazard signages that are supposed to be around there? So, communication, I agree with Meghna, that's absolutely important, and it's not done across the board other than, the simple barricade that says DMRCL work in progress and that kind of thing, which is very, very basic. And the second thing which I will say about, is a communication is even in the railway station, like when does the next train go versus when does the metro arrive? We approached, the MP and the MLA and everybody and BMRCL saying, why can't you put up a simple TV screen inside the railway station, which connects to the metro station, saying, here's the list of trains. So, we can jump and catch the next train if we need to. Or we know that we got to step out and we got to take an auto or we got to do something else. So very simple things like putting up the timetables, which are so standard communication, is also not being done. And I don't know why, because those are really very basic, like Metro 101 type of things that they should be doing.
Thank you so much, Anjali. That was an interesting insight. I want to just go back to Dr. Verma and just expand on something that you had talked about, safety, about gender and inclusion. So in general, construction sites are not well maintained. There's garbage and debris all around. And only the construction site is well lit, leaving the other places incomplete. So there is, a general air of seediness to that place. And nobody really wants to walk there unless they have no other choice. So what is the implication for women pedestrians and commuters in this respect?
Yeah, so there's a study which we have recently done, and DALT has given us that opportunity to work on that. Had an opportunity to interact with 7 group of women, and we had some very interesting findings. And the same problem which women faces is faced by the males also. There's just very few specific problems related to women, otherwise it's all same. Like, so coming to this pedestrian safety here, one is definitely the pedestrian, the footpath itself. So when there is no footpath, she has to go up and down, whether it is a male or a female. The very moment I am off the footpath, because of the absence of the footpath or because of the encroachment of the footpath, I'm prone to accident. Then they will say that the pedestrian has not followed the safety guidelines. Second, we all notice the traffic signals, how much time in percentage they give it to pedestrian crossings as compared to vehicle crossings. I think this is so much against our own transport policy, which says that move people and not vehicles. And every expansion is happening to move vehicles, unfortunately. So we need to look back into the basic. Then when we talk about, again, the pedestrians ones, I live in this area, which is a combined area, touches Malleshwaram, Yashwantpur, Bell Road, and all that. Somebody should do an audit how many times they have constructed, reconstructed the footpaths. And still, it is not in place. So as I said, for the projects, when we can have a start time and end time, can we also have an information system? Who did first time, who did second time, right? So that there should be some accountability, because each time when they do that, it's an inconvenience. We understand government is doing everything for the convenience of us only as a citizens, but during providing that convenience, for how many years the inconvenience is coming, and when we will get that fruit of inconvenience. So we really wait for that tomorrow to come. So that tomorrow has to be communicated in writing by this particular date, and we are done. Till that time, we'll keep patience, and we'll surely keep patience. Right? We'll not put ourselves into dangerous. We probably will opt for another safer route. So from another thing which very interesting, which I found is crowd. Now, when we use a pedestrian area, if it is a crowded place during the daytime, it's pretty safe. But when it becomes less crowded, maybe in the nights or somewhere, there where the safety issue comes. The same exact problem happens when we are boarding a bus or a metro. But the problem is, it is something which is more psychological that need to be addressed other than engineering audits, right? And which can be done very easily by just moving in the crowd. So when we are moving with the crowd in the metro, definitely there are some bad touch, that good touch happens because some are deliberate and some are not. So if you increase the frequency, the crowd can be reduced. It's simple as that. And in the off-peak hours, the measures can be taken where the employees, like women staff, could be better in number, right? If they outnumber, even if women staff is better, that will give a kind of a sensible safety component there. Also the helpline numbers inside the metro, inside the buses, and also for the pedestrians, sometimes on the roads, right? We see so many hoardings, so many advertisements, so many digital boards for many products, advertisements, and many other things. Why not this one helpline number also goes everywhere where any citizens can call up? Yes, there are helpline numbers available online, but not everybody is online, right? Still, there are people across India who needs help, and they need easy accessibility to those information system. So I think whether it is a pedestrian safety or it is people who are traveling in the buses or in the metros, the common line is operational safety and information system robustness. You do that and it is fine. Right? Like in radio, sometimes we get it, and that particular area, there's too much of a traffic, so people know that we will take a diversion. That's not an official communication.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's very important. That's the point I would like to make.
Anjali, I'd like to bring you into the discussion. You did touch upon the environmental pollution aspect, which is the poor AQI. So, for citizens who are currently facing this problem where there's metro construction and will probably face it in the future, for those who will face it in the future, what are some insights that you'd like to share with us based on the kind of work that Whitefield residents did around this?
I think one is, we need to pressurize whoever is doing the construction to take care of the dust and the, whatever the impact on the pollution that their construction, what temporary or, long-term, like in metro. As citizens, we must band together. We have now ward committees, which are, formulated by BBMP. So within your ward, I would say, bring it up in your ward meeting, have BBMP issue letters saying, these are problems being faced by citizens, to say the managing director or the project manager. Most of these projects will have a project manager that handles that area. So what you need to do is to find out who is the project manager of the particular area in your ward who is handling the construction. Then what we did is we created a little WhatsApp group with him and with a few people in his team. So at least we could communicate basic issues like, if there's no barricading or there's a lot of dust, then they would, try to send out a tractor with water at night, to bring it down a bit. Or in an extreme case, we actually hired a mechanized cleaner ourselves through, Whitefield Rising, and we raised funds to do it. And we actually ran the mechanized cleaner in that area because they were refusing to do it. But the good thing that came out of that is it kind of gave a push to BBMP then, who then started running the mechanized cleaner in those areas regularly. So I would say, we got a good return on that, that kind of investment. The other thing is, I would say is protect yourself. Definitely wear an N95 mask if you are walking around that area, if you are commuting around that area, even if you're waiting. One of the problems of what Metro and even BBMP during construction don't realize is when they leave the dust on the road, because of the heavy traffic in Bangalore, the amount of vehicles that run on that dust, they make it a very, very fine dust. It becomes way beyond even the PM 2.5. So when, say, a BMTC bus goes across and you've got a commuter standing in the bus shelter or on the footpath, he's going to be sprayed with this PM 2.5, which is going to go straight to your lungs. Going to cut your life by about 3 to 5 years every time it's doing that. So definitely wear an N95 mask or wear, a medical mask to protect yourself when you're waiting around buses or traveling in autos or walking around these kind of areas where construction is going on. So I think it's a combination of, protecting yourself and taking action to get the people who are responsible for it to reduce it as much as possible, so that the impact on us is a lot lower.
Yeah, that's a really important point, which I would like Dr. Verma to please weigh in on this. What happens elsewhere in the world when construction is on? How do they prevent pollution, and what can we learn from them? Any insights on that, Dr. Meghna Verma?
Yeah. So when we travel, fortunately, most of the people sitting in the authority positions have been abroad. They know the world standards very well, right? Execution is also possible because that side country is also humans are only doing the execution. So as here, and trust me, we have good population strength with lots of good knowledge. It is just that, we don't get passionate about it. I think if the authorities get passionate about it to make their cities livable, improve the quality of life, trust me, everything will be in place because everybody has knowledge. But probably that passion is missing. So when we go there, it's simple. Everybody knows PM 2.5 is an issue. We cannot avoid, we are a developing country. Infrastructure development is happening, but there has to have a limit. There has to have a city planning, right? So when can we do that? Like Amsterdam, there is a particular point when they decided that the city should not expand. Let us develop another city, have a good connectivity with high-speed rail, and we can work it out. So likewise, Bangalore needs that care and passion. Somebody need to really love Bangalore to design Bangalore and make the life easier. Mm-hmm. It is not just the engineering aspect, right? So when we talk about it, it's very simple. How it is difficult, I don't understand this. If I'm having some construction work or painting work going on in my one of the rooms, what we do, we just close it so that the other rooms are least impacted. So as with this is what the world does. So they not just take care of their homes within, they also take care of the roadsides. So if the construction work is happening, what I have noticed while traveling to some of the developed nations is they cover it with the green nets. From a half kilometer or 1 kilometer and all the signages, it will be written that there needed to be a diversion. The speed limit should be this much. It's fine. We are going with a fast and rapid construction. So that's fine. But do it, as I said, emphasize on the time management. You give us a start date and an end date on a particular roadside. Whether this construction is the road improvement, pedestrian infrastructure, or it is anything. Give us a timeline. People will know that I have to keep a patience until then. That is the most important thing. So signage is extremely important. Well-lit area is extremely important. Communication is very important because you see, if we notice it, the roads are made, markings are not done, right? And this a passenger doesn't know how long I should be avoiding this. So they run out of patience, right? And then they take their life at a risk to go from the construction site. So I think the whole safety part should be a part of a contract. And what accident has happened in Bangalore, it's not something underground metro was happening and only the engineers could have done the audits, which was mentioned by the experts, Prasad and the other safety expert person, Mr. Dayanand, right? So this was visible. This was too much visible. So I don't think if it is something which happens because of the technical errors, it is something happened because of the management error. Handling the project, where it went wrong, the time line get extended. There was nobody to take care of it. Otherwise, how it can happen? Likewise, most of the things are happening in front of our eyes, right? So safety, as I said, safety is a culture which is largely missing in our country. We know that the building has a crack, but we will wait for months and years. We have seen safety as an accident in theaters a decade before, but still that happens, right? We have been talking about safety in terms of pedestrians and movement of people should be our criteria. So we have been talking about bus priority lanes, correct? Now this priority lane is for the safety of every citizen, because the ambulance, the fire brigades, all these emergency services will use that priority lane rather than stuck up there. Now we do not follow the road safety ourselves. Road safety month is also going on. We don't follow that, right? So to enforce it, the management, the authorities also make mistakes. They do the concretization of the dividers of the roads. Now whom to blame? The people to blame or them? Now when you did the concretization of the dividers, and if an emergency vehicle has to pass, you can understand that. How much is the survival probability of the person who is there in the ambulance? And I have seen many a times with one-way roads and the ambulance stuck up there, people get down, but there is no space. How would you give the space? So where is the safety? Let us not look only of this construction safety. It need to be looked holistically. So I think somewhere all the engineers and all that, they need to have some kind of emotional connect. And, being a little more sensitive. They are also facing fatigue and other things. If we keep correction aside, if we assume that most of the people are working with lots of, deadlines and other things, we appreciate that, but it is not visible to us. Like the experts from the metro from Madhya Pradesh who put it across. If I may get 10 seconds more, I would like to give you a very simple analogy here. When we buy a smartphone, we don't see how complex is the nanotechnology behind it in the whole circuit. We buy it, which is more user-friendly. We repeatedly buy a particular brand because it makes our life much easier, right? So we do respect the engineering aspect of it, but from the commuter's point of view, it has to be looked upon at every single stage. At every single stage by all the people from the transportation sector. If they do it, everything, our livelihood, our health, everything is connected with this particular sector. One of the most is the lifeline sector for any city or a country, right? So
very good points raised. Yes, Dr. Meghna Verma. In fact, I would like to ask Prasad Babu and Dayanand Singh to please answer this one question for us, which Dr. Verma has highlighted. What should those living nearby these metro construction sites do? How can they spot any issues quickly, and are there any precautions or preventive actions that can be taken?
Yeah, Mr. Dayanand, would you like to add? Yeah. Dayanand is there?
Yeah.
Mr. Dayanand, I think the audio, have to connect to the audio.
I think he's muted or not connected.
I think he needs to connect to the audio.
I'm connected.
Oh,
yeah.
We can hear you now.
Okay. Yes, great. Yes, thank you.
So I was talking about the Hyderabad metro project where I have served the 4 years, the tenure. So in the Hyderabad metro project, we have constructed altogether in a single stage 72 kilometers of the metro length. There we have established at every 2 kilometers some of the information system as to, in the case or in the event of any trouble or any problem faced by the citizen of the Hyderabad, they need to contact at following number. So that has been displayed at all the conspicuous locations and the prominent location. So the general public were having the access to the contact numbers, and in the wake of any problem they faced, they were the contacting and the highlighting their problems, and within no time their problems were addressed and it was rectified. So those kind of the thing could be a solution for other metro projects also, where such kind of the facilities are the communication system is missing. It doesn't cost much. It simply on the metro pier or the metro pillars also one can highlight the contact number of the project manager, administration personnel, HR personnel, or other the licensing authority or government authority, police, nearest police station, ambulance number. So in case of any emergency or any situation where the help is required, so that can be addressed. That kind of the system could be implemented at the Bangalore also.
Now, basically, we are implementing this in all the station locations where construction is happening at Bhopal and Indore Metro. That is available. However, now I would like to add to Mr. Dayanand's point is that end of the day, the metro is constructed for the benefit of the people, which is a sustainable transportation. Wherein we need to the people are also requested to to help support us in such a way that we implement it in a better way. I agree with that. There are no problems or it's restrictions which will happen during the construction. Troublesome is there, but I think that's the pain we have to go through since we are still a developing country.
I would
one thing I would like to mention here. In the Bangalore, I had been there in the Bangalore from 1991 to 1995. So during the course of my stay in the Bangalore, in my opinion, in my knowledge, and in my perception, the Bangalore is having the potential and the most caliber. The citizens are residing in the Bangalore. That is my perception. So during 91 to 95, I found that most educated the people, they are residing in the Bangalore. So at any given point of the time, if you take a stretch of 1 kilometers road or 1 kilometers the street, you will find more than 15 to 30 the people who are the graduate or postgraduate in the engineering degrees. So if any the lacunas in the engineering, the design, engineering control practices, if they see or they perceive if any imminent danger is existing during the construction phase, they should come forward and they should highlight it to the law enforcement authorities and other the project authorities, so that immediate action could be taken on those issues and it could be rectified. So the citizen of the Bangalore city is equally important, and they should come forward to come out with the deficiency and other kind of the flaws or lacunas. Yes, madam.
Thank you so much. I'd like to just highlight some comments that we've got in the live stream of YouTube. Toolbox talks are useful only if the management is technically aware of the hazards. If the safety staff itself is unaware, no one becomes sensitive to a clear and present hazard. For example, the hazardous practice of assembling a reinforcement structure on the ground and then trying to place the whole cage in a pit with a small crane. So no guy wires are used to prevent the structure from toppling in any direction. No scaffolding is erected beforehand to hold the structure in case it topples. All the vehicles and structures inside the work zone are large and heavy. The flimsy partition used to isolate the work zone from traffic is unable to protect the passers-by. So a citizen says that I live in Bellandur, right on ORR, and there was no safety communication or dialogue with us. We see a lot of unsafe practices in the work zone. And also additionally that useful footpaths are so rare that people become oblivious when a usable stretch does come up and they continue to walk on the road. So that's some, yes, Dr. Verma, in 1 minute, if you can just share your insight.
Yes, less than that also. Citizens did communicate about the risk they were carrying for this particular pillar. This has been widely debated and has been noticed. So citizens did fulfill their responsibility, but unfortunately, the support did not come on time, and hence this accident happened. My heart really goes out because I could resonate so well. What if I would have died along with my son and leaving the family behind? For the city management or the country's point of view, it is just a statistics, but for the family, it is something else. So that sensitivity is very, very important. We don't want to be a part of the statistics. Let us make it so clear. That should be our objective. Second thing is, I'm just responding to, I think Mr. Dayanand spoke about it, or Mr. Prasad. I'm sorry if I'm not able to recall the name correctly, but he said that, we need to cooperate. Yes, we do that. But frustration comes, you will agree with me, Saraswati, that one road will be there, then white topping will come. In few months, it will be dig up to make a flyover. After few months, again, a parallel metro construction will happen. So where is the planning, and how long the citizens will keep a patience and cooperate? It clearly shows lack of city planning or random decisions. We do not know for what reasons. How could they plan something initially and then change? Isn't it? So where is the planning? Simplest example, airport and electronic city. Silicon City was an electronic city. Airport on the other side. Why metro didn't come up? And you have constructed flyovers, and now you are saying that metro, yes, we wanted metro, but where is the planning? So that is what is my request. There has to be a city planning, right? And then communicate to people that this area people have to cooperate with us for these many years. Not for many generations, they have to cooperate. What I am sacrificing, and my child should have that. And we are proven facts. I mean, I don't have to tell you the statistics. We all move across the country. Some of us also goes abroad frequently. So that is small cooperation from the enforcement agencies are required. Citizens are ready to do that, because ultimately we know that you are working for us. And fortunately, with this BMLTA thing coming up into the picture, hopefully we should see the fruits of this whole exercise where everybody will collaborate with each other and work the good for us. Thank you.
Just to add to that point, I mean, I truly agree with you, Ms. Meghna, that this is a very important point you are raising. We are working with the government officials here in Madhya Pradesh up to the chief secretary level. Believe it or not, the chief secretaries are, under them, there are principal secretaries. These principal secretaries have they handle the different departments. For example, one principal secretary metro, another fellow is PWD. These two people will not talk. The major problem what's happening is that, because in here also we are implementing one metro project, parallelly there is a flyover coming, which is ridiculous. We try to push, as a PMC, we try to push this to the principal secretary, saying that this is not required. Please tell them to stop the construction of PWD flyover. No, Prasad, I cannot stop, because that's a separate. The whole, as I agree with you, this should come from the CM level, chief secretary level, and then they should collaborate together. Then only the metro, metro cities can collaborate together and combine with one kind of transportation system. I truly agree with you. This should come from there, not from we fighting here, we discussing here.
No.
It's of no use. I'm telling you. I faced it direct. I directly told the PWD flyover at this road is not required because they are having a metro. No, they are not listening.
So, sir, citizens are collaborating, cooperating. Please, within your administration, if you could do the job better, things will be easier for all of us. Yes. We can only request.
In the interest of time, very interesting conversation, extremely interesting insights, and thank you everyone for everything that you have contributed to this discussion. I just want to highlight some of the interesting points as a conclusion raised during the webinar. Need for proper workman management, safety regulation, especially awareness and training, ensuring pedestrians have proper and continuous footpaths, providing alternate routes for traffic with clear signage and communication, minimizing pollution by proper road surface, removing debris and garbage, regular sprinkling of water, and communicating regularly with the residents and other stakeholders. Hopefully, the metro team and others in the government will take cognizance. And finally, it is up to us as citizens to make those changes happen. Thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank you
opportunity.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.